Hi, everyone. This is Mrs. Reddy with a very short PowerPoint on the 14th Amendment. The second of the Civil War amendments, which were 13, 14, and 15, those were the Civil War amendments, which were passed to protect the rights of former slaves. The 14th Amendment has 4 clauses, starting with the Citizenship Clause. So let's have a look at that. Oh, okay. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. This is called the Citizenship Clause. The next clause is the Privileges and Immunities Clause. So not only are they citizens, but also the state shall make or enforce, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. So they are also protected by the state. This defines citizenship so that the state governments could not deny former slaves their rights and privileges as citizens. In the third clause, it reads, "Nor shall any state deprive any citizen of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." This clause forbids state governments from making and enforcing laws that would deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And this clause is used to extend the 14th Amendment to our civil liberties, to protecting our civil liberties. Due process of law means that laws are fair and procedures are followed with everyone. The last clause is the Equal Protection Clause, and it reads, "Nor deny to any citizen within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." This Equal Protection Clause says that a state government may not deny any person equal protection of the law, any person under its authority. So this is the basis, or used to extend the 14th Amendment to concept of civil rights. So how does the court use the 14th Amendment to apply the Bill of Rights to the states? The Bill of Rights protects us from government intrusion in our lives. Originally, it only applied to the federal government. The states weren't bound by the Bill of Rights. But with passage of the 14th Amendment and the Due Process Clause, everything changed. Beginning with the case of Gitlow v. New York, the Supreme Court determined that the First Amendment protection of freedom of speech applies to the states. This is called incorporation. Selective incorporation just means that certain rights in the Bill of Rights are applied to the states on a case-by-case basis. Now, I notice Barron v. Baltimore is on here too. That was a case where the Supreme Court decided that the Bill of Rights does not apply to the states. And this was earlier than Gitlow v. New York. So Gitlow was the first time the Bill of Rights was applied to the states, and they applied the First Amendment freedom of speech. After these 2 cases, many more followed, including Gideon versus Wainwright, which incorporated the 6th Amendment, right to an attorney for people who couldn't afford one. Mapp v. Ohio, which incorporated part of the 4th Amendment, no unlawful search and seizure, that stated that illegally seized evidence cannot be used against you in a court of law. This is called the exclusionary rule. Here's a funny cartoon. I can hear you laughing. It shows the federal government at first was bound by the Bill of Rights, but the states weren't. And they were making faces because they didn't have to abide by the Bill of Rights. And then after the 14th Amendment, the states and the federal government were bound by the Bill of Rights. That's it. Thanks for listening.